Alright, this will be a test on YouTube. Wow, I'm wondering if it's going through. Well, it actually worked. So, I am now live on YouTube, finally. Awesome. I really needed a place where I can just vent out some thoughts, but I didn't want to do these vents alone. Well, I don't mind them being alone, but the very thought that somebody might be listening, like on YouTube or Twitch or something, it makes me feel needed, or someone is listening, or the potential of someone listening, so I don't feel so quite alone. And that's why I'm doing this. It feels good to like speak out, even if it's like a therapy session. Even though there is nobody listening, or rather there's just a possibility of somebody listening, as opposed to in actual therapy where someone is listening. But if I were to go to therapy, I think my psychiatrist or my shrink or whoever you call that person is will have weird, opinions about me, and I don't want that. I just want to speak out, no opinions, just somebody listening type thing. Like when we were children, we would listen to one another, and no one made assumptions of the other person. They were just listening to like learn from that person. And as we get older, that type of mentality I find is being lost. In fact, the older we get, I find that people tend to not care about anybody but themselves. Almost like a selfish type of mentality the older we get. So the older we get, the more selfish we get, is how I find it. I'm not that way, I don't think. But you know what? I guess I am that way. But I'm only doing it, like most people that are older, is only doing it because we know that our time is limited, and we we have learned enough to make our own decision, and our own opinions, and we don't want to be tampered with. I guess at the old age we are at. Um, Plus, I just think that we don't want to be bothered anymore. We just been through all this. We've been through those friends that listen, but in the end, they used our advice, or they took our advice and just ran with it. Kind of like backstabbed us, after we told them things. But I don't know if that's the case or not. I don't find that I'm a bad person, even if I'm selfish. I don't find that I'm a bad person. I find that I'm just doing it because my time is limited now. Probably like 10 or 20 more years, somewhere around there left in my life. Um, Man, that's such a short time. Shit. But I need to write down these thoughts before I pass away. And I'm hoping this channel stays, even when I'm gone, and maybe somebody's searching and then one day sees these thoughts or hear these thoughts of mine and learn something from it. So basically, this video is the intro to me. Um, I am a person that had a lot of had an interesting history. But now, as an adult, I have a lot of strong opinions on things that I've seen throughout the years, and I question a lot of things now. And as I think it's not just me, I think almost everybody is really questioning a lot of things that is going on right now, but not speaking out on it, or if they're not questioning it, you know, I need to rephrase this. I think a lot of people are being taught not to question things. and to just accept things. And they think that's the case, but in all actuality, they are being programmed to believe a certain way. So there's an illusion that these people are thinking for themselves, but in all actuality, they are being programmed to believe or to think a certain way. So when someone like me comes in and speaks a totally different type of narrative, it freaks them out because they're not taught that. And therefore, when they hear someone like me speak, they think, one, they might think I'm bullshit, but in all actuality, deep down inside, I think subconsciously they don't think that. They know that I'm not bullshit. It's just they don't quite understand it and it doesn't register with them. So therefore, they attack with questions. They make it seem like I'm stupid or I don't know what I'm talking about by attacking me with questions, but in all reality, those questions are being used for their understanding of what I'm really trying to say. I don't mind people asking me questions politely and kindly, and then I will explain it. I just don't like that mentality where people uh, attack me to try to belittle me, but at the same time, subconsciously, they're trying to understand things. And in the end, they will understand what I say because most of the times I tell them, I explain to them. Well, at least before I did. These days, I could give two shits on what these people really think anymore. If you get it, you get it. And if you don't understand it, ask me politely. If you don't ask me politely, then fuck you. That's how I see it. And I'm not going to answer it, and I'm not going to teach you anything. And I explained enough. It's at the point these days where I don't even want to teach people when they first ask me, because the majority of people I see these days are rude and just downright assholes. You teach them and then they become assholes afterwards, bloviating and talking all this bullshit, talking over me. So it's getting to the point where I'm just like, fuck everybody. I just don't want to teach anything. But at the same time, I still feel like I should vent. I still feel like I should vent out a lot of these thoughts because it's like my mind is a cup, and eventually it gets overfilled with ideas, and unless I empty some of the cup, the thoughts are just spewing all over the place, and my personality might seem like I'm crazy or delusional or something like that, but it's just too much ideas and research that I've done, and it's hard for me to do anything because all these thoughts are just going through my mind. And I don't have that many people to speak to, so I don't vent this stuff properly. Hence, what this whole video, I guess it's a podcast maybe or biography. I don't know what I'm gonna call this, but let's just say it's a biography, but more of a therapeutical biography. Um, a place for me to release a lot of the tensions in my mind verbally. There's other things that I do to relax myself or to release the stress or to let out a lot of the things that have accumulated mentally. But I find that verbally is the best way to do it. At the same time, speaking, I think, helps me learn as I speak out. As I hear myself speak out, I'm actually learning from it. So, yeah, man, this is what I will use this podcast for, or what I'm planning to use this podcast for, as a place to vent my ideas, concepts and research, and at the same time learning from it to see why I'm thinking this way, and hopefully I can find out if the thoughts that I have are accurate or if it's just not really anything special. Um, Another thing that I hope to accomplish with this podcast is my verbal appearance, verbal appearance, if that's a word or if that makes sense. But I would like to use this and listen back to it and learn how to speak better. Maybe say, I heard that we shouldn't use a lot, like the word or just speak it out and learn how to pause when we speak, which is very difficult for me. Growing up, I'm just so used to copying other people, and the majority of people, when they speak, they do things like using the word like. I hear some people saying, "You understand? Do you get what I mean?" Uh, there are some people that say, is another one, is the other. I just hope that I can speak properly without having to use those weird slurs. I don't know how else to call that. I cannot stand people that talk and say stuff like, you know what I mean? Over and over, you know what I mean? Or you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. I cannot stand those people because in all actuality, I don't really understand what they're saying. I rather people just speak it out. And I'm trying to make sure I don't do those things because those types of twitches are also within the way I speak. Twitches is twitches the word I'm trying to think of here? Nuances is in the way I speak as well. And I hope to use this as like a working out. You know how you work out, you build a better body. Hopefully, speaking through this podcast, I could build my vocabulary better to become a better vocabulary. And I'm really enjoying this the software, this software that's this OBS software that's being used to stream now. I I don't I haven't played with podcasting, so I don't know all the new I'm not familiar with all the new latest technology. The last time I did a podcast was on Facebook, and we did it through the app, the Facebook app. And also, I think on YouTube before I've done it the same way too, where I use YouTube. Nowadays, there's a separate software like OBS here that you use to do your stream, and it connects directly with the social media platform like YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, or what there's a few other, I just can't think of it right now, but I do know that Facebook, Twitch, YouTube uses these software stream software applications, and it's pretty incredible learning or adapting to this type of streaming. It's a new level for me, and for me it is. I find it so incredible. I love technology. I love getting to learn to use different software, and I don't find a lot of this difficult. I find it very simple actually, because the inventors of these, or the creators of these software, or at least the good creators of these software, makes it dummy proof for people like me. A lot of people don't know how to use software because they think that the creators are super smart and design these things for geniuses. Therefore, they expect very technical, intricate ways to use it. But in all actuality, it's not that. It's not designed that way. It's designed for dummies. And if you think like a dummy, you will understand how to use the software. these types of software. Now, don't get me wrong, there is a complexity in there that you do need to have, you do need an understanding of to use it. It's not super simple, but that type of complexity is not very often. I don't want to go into that, but just maybe one day I'll go into that in one of my podcasts for this show. Okay, this show. I hope to use this show as a place to speak about things that I am concerned about and things that I know about. One of which would be cryptocurrencies. I'm deep into cryptocurrencies. The big one that I am into is XRP. I love XRP. I like the concept of it. I like the technology of it, how quick it is to send it. I've sent different cryptocurrencies from one exchange to another, and I have never seen any cryptocurrencies that transfer as quick as XRP. I remember the first time I sent something using XRP, I was so shocked. It was like in, I want to say like 5 seconds that it was sent from one exchange to a wallet. And what? I couldn't believe it. I was so used to using Bitcoin, and Bitcoin was, the last time I sent Bitcoins was I think in 2017, which is this during one of the bull runs. And it took, I want to say 24 hours for the Bitcoin transaction from one exchange to the other. Plus, Bitcoin charged me, I want to say somewhere in the range of $50 for sending, I'm pretty sure it was not that much Bitcoin. Yeah, maybe it was like 10 Bitcoins at the time, which came out to be like, I want to say $3,000 or $4,000, something like that. But $50 to send $3,000 or $4,000, what the hell? It was ridiculous, totally ridiculous. And but I figured that's the way all cryptos were until I found out about XRP. XLM would be the other one. I actually got into XLM first. I heard somebody say that it was going up, so I purchased into it from one exchange, and I sent it to another exchange to try to use the money to buy different types of cryptos. And then when I sent it, I was expecting it would be done within an hour or something like that, but it was done within a matter of seconds. Just like XRP, it was within 10 or 20 seconds that it was sent from one exchange to the other. It was unbelievable. And then when I got into XRP, it was unbelievable. And there was no fee. Well, there was a fee, but it was so minimal that you wouldn't even notice it. I think I sent like, I want to say $2,000 or $3,000 worth of XRP, and it was like maybe 20 cents or 10 cents or even 1 cent. I know it was like super little, and it's just like, what the heck? It's like no money at all. It's super cheap, and it being super quick at the same time just made me believe right there at that moment, this is the way cryptocurrency should be. Cheap, extremely cheap, plus super fast to send. That's how cryptocurrencies should be. I don't understand all the complexities of why cryptos are the way they are now, where it's being taken so long to send, and why is it so expensive? This whole Ethereum thing, I just don't quite get it. Every time I use MetaMask or some sort of a platform that uses Ethereum, it's super complex. It's super complex. Just to log into that just to log into the system itself is so complex. To create an account is like, holy hell. You have to get all kinds of verifications, accounts all over the place. It's just really ridiculous. And then once you're on it, you're paying all kinds of fees. I didn't quite understand why there's a gas fee on top of the Ethereum fee itself. So I actually am not a fan of Ethereum. I am a fan of how much money it costs right now. I remember when Ethereum was like 64 cents. And to see Ethereum at $1,000 right now, over $1,000, it's ridiculous to me. It was a good investment at one time, but I do not believe in the technology itself. I just don't think that's how. I don't think it's friendly, user friendly enough to be a viable technology of the future. I think it's too pricey with the gas fees. I think Ethereum also uses mining rigs, so I don't know. I just don't believe in Ethereum or Bitcoins. And then there's other weird ones like Cardano. There's one guy that runs a whole fucking company. Come on, it just makes no sense. But I'll get into that in the future, and I'll explain more about why XRP is an incredible company that I believe will one day be a huge force in the financial industry. The other thing that I'm really concerned about these days is how the government system is. I see so much corruption in the government, not overseas, which is really odd because I see more corruption in this country, the USA, than anywhere else. And I'm shocked that this is the country we are living in right now. Take, for instance, the whole censorship thing that we are experiencing right now. I used to be on Facebook, and I would actually go live with all my thoughts on Facebook if Facebook didn't censor me so damn much. Why the hell am I getting fact checked all over the place? I did a post. This was huge, and I think the first time I've ever gotten, or anybody has ever gotten fact checked on Facebook, was when Trump became president. Bottom line. And it only got worse when COVID happened. I've never seen such bullshit. And those that don't believe that there is a globalist society or Illuminati or whatever, you should think twice about that. Just experience it. Just remember the experience you went through during COVID. We were all locked in our homes. We were all forced to wear masks. And thank God we weren't all forced to be vaccinated. But in all actuality, I think the majority of us were. The people that wanted to keep their jobs had to be vaccinated. People that worked at businesses like Planet Fitness, LA Fitness, those type of people had to get vaccines to work there. Not just them, a lot of factory people had to get vaccinated to work there. The nurses, the doctors, it's almost as if they were being forced. If you didn't get these shots, then you weren't allowed to work. Luckily, I'm a contractor, and if I get to choose my job. So if a company says, hey, we cannot let you work here unless you're vaccinated, I'll say, well, thank you, goodbye. I won't, it was nice knowing you type of deal. I won't get vaccinated. Well, if that's the case, I won't work there. That's how it is. That's how I see it. But I'll go into me in the future. This is just a teaser of some of the things that I would like to talk about. That being another one. So the third thing, there's so many things in my mind that I want to release. And I don't really know if I'm going to attract any viewers that will be on my level of, here I go with that, I'm trying to think of a word, but I don't want to leave empty space, so that's why I'm saying to keep the anticipation going. I don't think there are that many people with interests similar to mine. I think the majority of people that search for YouTube videos find somebody with one similar interest, and they just keep watching that video because of that one interest. But that's not me. I have too many interests to make a channel based on just that one interest. So the other interest that I'm deeply into is art. I'm a huge fan of art. I love prehistoric art down to the Assyrians' cryptography, where their language was first based, where they had a language or an alphabet based on pictograms. And I just love that type of art. I'm hugely into the post-lintel Greek sculptures, all the way up to the Renaissance with Leonardo, Da Vinci, Michelangelo, Raphael. There's this one Renaissance artist that a lot of people don't know about. I think he was at a later time period, like when all of the Renaissance artists basically passed away. He was the next generation, and his name was Albrecht Dürer. They say that he was smarter than Leonardo da Vinci. I I can't remember why, but I know that he was actually uh, more complex in his mathematics, whereas Leonardo da Vinci was more imaginative with his mathematics. Albrecht Dürer was formula-based mathematics, whereas Leonardo da Vinci was more imaginative. So the best way to explain this would be Leonardo da Vinci drew a helicopter. Albrecht Dürer broke it down, the propellers, on how it would spin for a helicopter. Well, although Albrecht Dürer didn't design any helicopters, but it's along the same line, something of that nature. I'll go into Cubism. I like Picasso. I don't understand why Cubism would be interesting to somebody of this era, because we have televisions and we watch movies. At that time, they weren't really into TV. So the concept of Cubism was interesting for them. Cubism is a painting where you could see different rotations of the image. So the painting would have different image or different how do I know it's called faucets, but I don't know how to explain it in a more simpler term. Just imagine an artist drawing a vase and then moving to a different area and then drawing that vase again, and then moving to a different area and drawing that vase again. And eventually the artist moved 360 around that vase, and that's what ends up happening. You get a picture of a vase at different angles or different facets of angles. And at the time before movies, that was interesting. You could probably relate it to something like a bullet time, like The Matrix, bullet time. I really idolize Andy Warhol. I think we all do. He is an incredible artist. He basically is saying he predicted our future, I think. By the words he says, in the future we would all have, I think he said 60 seconds of fame. And even though 60 seconds is a little bit short, I think we all have years of fame in our life. Every one of us have years of fame in our new society, through social media, through video games we play, through just chatting on the web. We become famous in our own right. Now, viral is a different story. But in terms of fame, I think we all are a little bit famous now. The world is definitely smaller because of the technology now. That's for sure. And I like even till now the art now. I enjoy, what is it called? Pop surrealism. I like graffiti. Graffiti and pop surrealism is borderline the same, I think, these days. But I'll get into that one day, and I'll deeply, deeply break it down. Like hopefully, I'll find the time to break down some of these artistic principles in a video. Man, there's a lot. Then there's the movies. I am a huge movie fan, but I find movies these days very difficult to watch. Very, very difficult. To the point where I really don't even like watching them anymore. But I still kind of force myself to watch movies. A prime example would be this Black Panther, the Wakanda Forever. I tried my best to watch that shit, but that movie was a piece of shit movie. It was loaded with political messages in there. Maybe I'm hoping that's what they were trying to do, because I don't understand why anyone would make a piece of shit movie like that. I remember when superhero movies first came into the picture, and it was incredible. Iron Man, Spider-Man, that type of stuff. When they first came out, oh my God, it was incredible. I loved it. I didn't like the Superman movie at the time. I think it was called Superman Forever or something like that. It was just terrible, but it was good to see Superman again in the movie theaters. And I would still sometimes, I think it was Brad Rittner, I forgot his name, who made that movie. But it was basically about Superman coming back. He traveled to find his planet, and then came back to Earth, and eventually Lex Luthor was found his Fortress of Solitude, got some of the crystals, and started making islands out of them. The movie was is too, it followed a formula that I don't like. And I see movies with this formula now, and I don't think we need it. And this is a teaser for that too. One day I would hope to break down how I feel about movies these days. There is going to be much, much more topics, but for right now, let's just end it at that. Ignore this logo, Get Rich, Get Out, with the light bulb in the background. This is just a test. In all actuality, this whole video right here is really just a test for me, and for me to see how to better improve this channel. But if I don't improve it and it's like this forever, just expect it, because I'm just using this channel as a vocal for myself, a place for me to just speak out. And if somebody listens to it and gets a positive vibe from it, thank you, or good. But in all actuality, it's more for me to just relax, or it's therapeutic for me. Hopefully. I rarely speak to people these days. I'm very introverted. So using this as a place to speak will be very beneficial, therapeutic. Anyway, thank you for listening. If you're listening, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for me,